Hello and welcome to the Aussie Football Passport, your one-stop pod for updates on your favourite Aussie men and women who are playing their club careers abroad. I'm your host, Alex, and this week is a very busy one. Our ladies return to action in the USA and Europe, whilst our men continue across the globe. And guess what? We've got more transfers to bring you. Yes, that is right. So take a seat, settle down for a brew, and let's talk headlines. All right, so let's get into those transfers. And first one is Jessika Nash. The defender has signed for Sassuolo in Italy, taking our tally of Australian ladies to 3 in the Italian league. Of course, Winona Heatley signed for Roma and Alex Chidiak for Como recently. So we will have a strong contingent to cover there in Italy for you. Now, staying with our ladies, Courtney Nevin, she's signed a 3-year deal with Malmo FF in Sweden after 2.5 years at Leicester City in the WSL. And of course, Courtney has played in Sweden previously. Now, speaking of players returning to a country they know well, Alan Hrustic, he's signed with Heracles Almelo in the Dutch top flight. It is only a 1-year deal. Of course, he recently left Salernitana in the Italian second division after their relegation to the third division there. So good luck to Aden. Of course, previous experience in the Dutch league as well. So familiar surrounds for him, and hopefully that brings the best out in his football for later on this year and into next year, which is a World Cup year, of course. Okay, so Lachlan Brook, well, his time at Real Salt Lake has ended after they have mutually agreed to terminate his contract with Lachlan looking to pursue an opportunity elsewhere. So let's watch his space. There are a couple of different rumours. One of them is that Auckland FC might land his services. We will keep you updated on that one. Now to a transfer that is confirmed, and that is Jake Hollman. He's signed a 2-year deal with an option for a third with Walsall in England. So they play in League Two, and that is the fourth division, if you like, of English football just before it goes to semi-professional level. Now, room mill. Marco Tilio's move to Rapid Wien is in jeopardy as Celtic will only let the winger go once they can find a replacement. Rapid Wien, though, are putting the pressure on Celtic in order to try and force that move through. So let's see how that one plays out. Hopefully, Marco can leave Celtic. It has been a bit of an unhappy move for him and for a couple of Aussies of recent times. Now, Matt Ryan, he posted on Instagram pictures from AZ Alkmaar's Conference League qualification game last week. So that's an interesting one. No real cryptics around it, unlike a lot of social media users these days, but it'll be interesting to see. Will he return to AZ? Of course, he has played there before, so another one we will keep you informed on. Now, let's go to English Championship news, or A-League 2.0, as we like to call it here at the Aussie Football Passport. And it is Blackburn Rovers. They are close to signing Lewis Miller from Hibs. The fee is believed to be £1 to £1.5 million, and the move is expected to be completed early this week. So let's see how that one goes. Of course, Blackburn has a very strong link to Australian footballers. The likes of Brett Emerton and Vinnie Grella have both played for the club in previous years during that golden period of Australian footballers in the English Premier League. So let's see how that one goes. Let's hope that Lewis can move to Blackburn. It would be great to see. Now, staying in England, Sunderland have rejected a £1.2 million bid from Derby for Nectar Triantis. So another one, of course, Nectar, our favourite man here at the Aussie Football Podcast, the man that has given me content every single episode. So long may that continue. Now, Closer to home, Charlotte FC have increased their transfer bid for Archie Goodwin. They've tabled an offer of 1.5 million US dollars, which could rise to 2 million with add-ons. So let's see if Adelaide give in and get Archie that transfer or not. All right, now staying in Adelaide, and there is interest from a German club for the services of Dylan Parias. So the speedster is a wanted man. Let's see how that one plays out. And finally, to round off a big lot of news for Adelaide United, Stefan Mork, he's off to Kong and Hanoi Football Club in Vietnam on loan. So Adelaide United have received a loan fee for that move. So you can see why they've taken it, but very interesting move. And there seems to be a lot of movings going on there at Adelaide, of course, with their new coach and a new sort of ownership set up there. So let's see what else comes from that news in Adelaide. All right, so some other headlines around the Australian football world. And of course, last week we let you know that the Matildas draw for the next year's Asian Cup tournament was happening. And we know our fate. So the Matildas have drawn South Korea, Iran, and Philippines for the tournament. So, of course, tough draw for our ladies, as is tradition for the Aussie national teams. Now, speaking of Matildas, the Junior Matildas under 16s, in fact, their team has been selected for the ASEAN 2025 Championship. Our girls are in a group with Thailand and Singapore, and those games will take place later this month, and we will cover them right here for you on the Aussie Football Passport. All right, well, that is it for the headlines this week. Let's move on to a massive weekly wrap. Weekly wrap time, and finally we have some women's football action to cover after a couple of weeks off for our ladies. Now let's start in Europe, where Jessika Coates, she played a full game for NSA Sofia against Poinik and the Faroe Islands in Champions League qualification. Now, the first game, Jessika, she played a full game against Poinik, and that one unfortunately ended 1-0. In the second game against the Faroe Islands, that one ended 4-0, and Jessika also played a full game in that one. So a bit unfortunate for her. A week that she'll probably want to forget in a hurry. Now, Ava Piazza, she played a full game for Poinik in that 1-0 win over NSA Sofia. She then played another full game. This time it was a 4-0 loss to Luboten in that one. So, mixed bag for our girls in Europe there. Now, let's head to the US&A, where Alana Kennedy, she played a full game back at centre back for Angel City in a 2-0 loss to Seattle Reign. And one of those goals was an unfortunate own goal. So bad luck to Alana and her teammates. Now, Courtney Vine, she got 35 minutes for North Carolina Courage in a 0-0 draw with the San Diego Wave there in the NWSL. And to round out our ladies in the States, we have two at Portland Thorns. Unfortunately, they went down 2-1 to Washington Spirit. And Mackenzie Arnold, she played a full game in goal. So great to see her back after that injury that she had quite recently. And Caitlin Torpey played right back and got 71 minutes before being substituted off there. All right, now let's head to our men and buckle up, because this one is a long one this week. Let's start in Croatia, where Fran Karasic had some week. He played the full 120 minutes of including extra time as Hajduk Split overturned that first leg deficit with a 2-1 win over Zira in the Conference League qualification. So they go through to the next round there. So well done to Fran. Anthony Kalick played 83 minutes in that game, another Aussie, of course. And then at the weekend, Hajduk Split kicked off their Croatian League campaign with a 2-1 win over Istria. And guess what, Fran? On debut in the league. He scored the winner in that one. So congratulations, Fran. And to keep things very repetitive, Anthony Kallick got another 83 minutes in that win over Istria. So well done to our Aussie lads in Croatia, doing very well. Now, speaking of lads doing well, let's head to Slovenia, where Tommy Juric, he got 14 minutes for FC Koper in their 3-5 loss to Viking in a Europa League Conference League qualifier, I should say. Of course, remember last week it was that 7-0 loss to Viking. So 12 goals Viking racked up in 2 games. Wow. Well, look, all is not to be doomed with Denny Juric. He played a full game in that one, and he scored 2 of FC Koper's goals, one of which was a penalty. Now let's head to Scotland, where recent Dundee United signing Zach Sapsford continues his red-hot form. He played 77 minutes and provided the assist in Dundee United's 1-0 win over UNA Strassen in that Conference League qualifier. So again, they go through to the next round, which is great to see. And the Scottish League kicked off on the weekend, so he backed it up with a full game as Dundee United drew 2-2 with Falkirk in the league. Now, Martin Boyle, he played 100 minutes of an extra time Europa League qualification game. Gee, that's a tongue twister, against Midtjylland. They went down 2-1, unfortunately, in that one. He then backed it up with 79 minutes on the weekend as Hibs won 2-1 over Dundee, not to be mistaken with Dundee United. Of course, there is 2 teams in Dundee in Scotland. Now, Jack Iredale, he got 98 minutes in the first game against Midtjylland in that Europa League qualifier for Hibs as well, and played the full game against Dundee. So good to see that the remaining Aussies at Hibs are in the gaffer's favour there. Now, Ryan McGowan, he played the full game on Livingston's return to the Scottish top flight. They drew 2-2 with Kilmarnock in that game. Now, we head to Motherwell, where a couple of our Aussies got some game time. Apostolos Stamatolopoulos, he got 78 minutes in Motherwell's 1-1 draw with Rangers. A bit of an upset there. And Johnny Katrumbas, he got the full game for Motherwell. Now, let's head south to Portugal, where Anthony Carter got 12 minutes for Santa Clara in the 2-0 win over Zarazden in another Europa Conference League qualification match. And that means Santa Clara will go through to the next round. Over to Austria. Noah Botic, he got the full game for Austria Wien in their 5-0 win over FC Spari in another Conference League qualifier, which means that Austria Wien go through to the next round. He then backed it up with 15 minutes at the weekend and provided an assist in his side's 2-2 draw with Grazer AK in the Austrian League, which is the first round of that. And in opposition, Jacob Italiano, he got 89 minutes for Grazer AK. So an Aussie derby there in Austria. Try saying that one 5 times, another tongue twister. This episode is full of them, let me tell you. All right, Jed Drew, he got 45 minutes for Hartberg in their 4-2 loss to WSG Tyrrell, also in Austria. Now to Belgium, Ryan Teague, he got 6 minutes for KV Mechelen in their 2-1 win over Club Bruges. Next door to the Netherlands, and Jordan Boss, he got 45 minutes for Feyenoord in a 4-0 win over Wolfsburg in a pre-season friendly. So good to see Jordan making his debut for Feyenoord there. Max Ballard, the new captain of NAC Breda, he unfortunately played in a 2-0 loss to Norwich in a friendly. In brighter news, though, Cameron Perpignan, he got 66 minutes for ADO Den Haag as they beat Olympiacos 3-2 in a friendly. Now over to Italy, and Alessandro Ciccati, he played a full game for Parma in a 1-1 draw with Mallorca in a pre-season friendly. Over to Serbia, where Miloš Degenek, he played a full game for his side, FK Baka Topola, in a 2-0 win over Spartak Subotica. Now, Milos, although he kept a clean sheet, he did pick up a yellow card in that one. I guess part of what a defender does, isn't it, really? So, all right, over to Korea, where John Idale, he got 59 minutes for Seoul Eland in their 0-0 draw with Incheon United. And in Japan, Thomas Deng, he got half an hour for Yokohama F. Marinos in a friendly against Liverpool. Unfortunately, Marinos lost 3-1 there. Now, over to the US&A, where League Cup action took place this week. And this is a competition played between teams from the USA, Canada, and Mexico. So in this one, we had Aidan O'Neill getting 60 minutes for New York City FC in their 3-0 loss to Bella. He then backed it up with a full game against Leon, which they won 2-0. Now, our super sub, Brad Smith, he got 5 minutes for FC Cincinnati in their 3-2 win over Monterrey. He then backed it up at the weekend with an 87th minute substitute appearance against Juarez. That game, it was level 2-2 before it went to penalties, where FC Cincinnati unfortunately lost that one. All right, now let's head to England and Wales, where League One and League Two kicked off this weekend, and let's rip in with some League One action. Nicholas Bilakovic, he got the full game for his side, Peterborough, in goal, of course, and unfortunately they went down 2-1 to Cardiff, who were recently relegated from the Championship to League One. Now, Caleb Watts, he got a full game for his new side, Plymouth Argyle. Unfortunately, they went down 3-1 to Barnsley in that one, but Caleb did score the goal. So congratulations to Caleb on his individual performance. Now, Tyrese Francois, he got a full game for Wigan in their 3-1 win over Northampton Town, also in League One. Now, let's go down a division to League Two, where the man that we mentioned in the transfer section, Jake Hollman, he made his debut for his new side, Walsall, getting 7 minutes off the bench in their 2-1 win over Swindon Town there. Now, Gethin Jones, he played a full game for MK Dons in their 0-0 draw with Oldham Athletic, also in League Two. Now, let's stay in England and let's go to some friendly action where forgotten man, Garang Kuol, he got 45 minutes for Newcastle United's under-21 side in a 1-1 draw with Hull. But it was good to see that Garang got on the score sheet in that one. Now, speaking of strikers getting on the score sheet, I should say, not score sheet. Thomas Waddingham, he scored 2 goals for Portsmouth in a 4-0 win over Brighton's under-21s. He then backed it up at the weekend with another goal in a 1-0 win over PEC Zwolle. There in another friendly. Hayden Matthews came on in the 88th minute for Portsmouth in that friendly against PEC Zwolle as well. Now, Nestri Irankunde, he got 20 minutes for Watford in a 1-0 win over Deportivo La Coruña in a friendly there. Sam Silvera, against the same opposition, but for a different side, he got a full game for his side, Middlesbrough, and an assist as they also played Deportivo La Coruña in a pre-season friendly. That one ended 2-2 as well. Now, Massimo Luongo, he's been a busy man since he signed on for Millwall. He took part in a 6-2 win over Sutton United in a friendly midweek, and then followed it up on the weekend with a halftime substitute appearance as Millwall went on to beat Estoril Praia 3-0. In Wales, Cameron Burgess, he played a full game for Swansea as they lost 3-1 to Lorient in a friendly. Now, Joe Gauci, he was a 71st minute substitute for Aston Villa against Nashville in a friendly. Patrick Yazbek came on as a halftime substitute for Nashville in that one. All right, now a couple of countries left in this weekly wrap, and it's over to Spain, where Al Amabil got 65 minutes for UD Castellon in a friendly against Levante, which they drew 1-1. And last but not least, Mitchell Glasson, our man in Finland, he got 12 minutes for his side at KTP in a 3-0 loss to SJK. All right, that is it for the weekly wrap, finally, and we will get on to our players of the week in just a tick. All right, folks, players of the week time. And unfortunately, our women have let us down. No goals, no clean sheets, nothing of note. Unfortunately, if we were to give it to anyone, I guess you'd have to give it to Courtney Nevin because she didn't lose this week. But yes, we will wait for next week. Hopefully some goals or something to report next week. But our man of the week is none other than Mo Toure. He netted a penalty which went on to win the game for his side Randers 1-0 against Silkeborg in the Danish league there. Showed nerves of steel to bury the match-winning penalty. He got 76 minutes in that game, and he now has 1 goal and 2 assists in his first 3 games of the season for Randers there. So well done to Mo. Long may it continue that our strikers rain down with goals and keep that form up once they get called up to the national team. All right, well, that is it for another week of the Aussie Football Passport. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, and rate the show on whatever platform you are listening to this on. Of course, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Amazon. Also, make sure to follow us on social media. We are on X/Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, and we'll try to keep you up to date as best we can once news breaks. All right, that is it. Thank you very much. I really hope I catch you in the next episode, and that is goodbye for now.